I would like to welcome everybody to the regular town board meeting for July 27th, 2026. And ask everybody to please silence your cell phones and electronic devices. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I'd also ask for a moment of silent reflection, please. Thank you very much. Before we get into the agenda, approval of the agenda, Carl Whitmer from Drescher Malecki here to do our annual audit presentation for the year 2025. So Carl, please rise.
Yes. No?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. Carl Whitmer from Drescher Malecki. I'm a partner over there. I'm finishing up the town's audit. You all had Erica Hammy as the lead engagement partner. She is out with her first child, so she's off, enjoying motherhood with her first. And I had some history with the town, so I was happy to come out and finish it up and give the presentation tonight. So I believe you all have a short printed out slideshow in front of you to follow along, and we'll run through. This is a presentation really just to capture a quick summary of what the audit process accomplishes, kind of what our responsibilities are, what the town's responsibilities are, and then move on to a quick snapshot on the actual financial performance for the town's major funds. So look at the presentation. It's like, you can see we're going to start off with the audit deliverables, tell you what all the products are at the end of the audit. Auditor communications, these are some required communications. Then we'll get into the numbers with financial statement update and wrap up with observations. So on the next slide, your audit deliverables. This is the book of goods that you receive each year. Of course, is the basic financial statements. This is for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2025. It's going to report on all of the funds of the town. In addition to that financial statement, there's an auditor's communication letter, which I'll go over a couple of the key communications on the next slide. A management letter. This is an opportunity for us to share maybe some best practices. We work with many municipalities across the state and a lot of towns locally. So we see a way that different towns do things, and we like to share, best ideas. So if there's anything out there that we thought would be appropriate to help out the town of Lewiston, we'll include that in that letter. We also take a look at the town clerk's office, so the clerk department, tax receiving, and your justice department. They receive a separate audit under a separate cover, just a cash basis to see basically what were the major receipts that came in, and then of course the job of those departments is essentially to receive what's due or owed, and then hand it over to who ultimately should be receiving it. So whether it's the town or passing along like the justice, and also the county as far as property taxes and fines, fees, things like that. And the final item that's actually already wrapped up is the annual financial report. The state comptroller's office has a portal that they like to receive all the municipalities in the state's financial information in a format that they like. So they put together this portal, and we help the town take your financial statements and put it into the format that they want to see it. That report was due by April 1st and was submitted on time. So that one's already complete. So I mentioned the auditor communications. Each year, as the auditor, we have a requirement to communicate certain items to you, the governing board. The first is our responsibility under generally accepted auditing standards. Our responsibility is to perform the audit, to come in, and then ultimately give our opinion on those financial statements. I think it's often a misconception that those financial statements, they say, well, those are Drescher Malecki's financial statements. They're the town's financial statements, just a couple pages have our letterhead on it that states our opinion on the financial statements, that's what we take responsibility for. So it's all the town's information. Our job is to apply standard auditing procedures, assess risk, perform that audit, and ultimately put on our professional opinion. Another item, when you hear auditors, you might think of fraud. We're hired to perform the financial statement audit. We aren't hired to come and perform a search for fraud. So I'd just like to state that. Those are more of a forensic type audit or a targeted audit. That's not what we're engaged to do. The next couple items, significant accounting policies and estimates. Essentially, there are estimates and policies that go into the town's financial statements that if you were to change how any of those are applied or calculated, we would want to let you know so that you can take last year's financial statements and easily compare them to the current year. So if there was any major changes due to accounting standards or even a change in town policy, we would have the responsibility to tell you guys that. Thankfully, no major changes for 2025. Second from the bottom, perhaps the most important. So if we are putting our professional opinion on the town's financial statements, that means whoever reads those financial statements is relying on our firm to provide that assurance that the numbers are fairly stated, that they can be relied upon. So if that's the case, it's imperative that we don't have any conflicts of interest and we are truly independent from the town. So something that we do with all of our clients is evaluate the relationships and who we have on staff and make sure that there aren't any issues or conflicts of interest with relationships. So if a board member was my brother, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to serve as your auditor, for an extreme example. Other matters, fortunately there is none. If we ever have any issues with getting access to the information or a limit of scope is what we would call it, we would have the responsibility to inform. But full access to records, no issues with issues audit. So before we get into the dollars and the financial statement update, anybody have any questions on the audit process or the firm or anything like that? All right. So we'll continue on. The financial statement update. Included in the presentation are the major funds and 2 slides for each. The first slide, we'll run through in the general fund first, is a line graph showing total revenues, money coming in, versus total expenditures, money going out, for each of the last 5 years. Now when you look at the general fund for the 5 years, you can see some years expenditures were higher than revenues and vice versa. That's kind of how it functions when you're operating as a government. You almost want to have a net zero, right? Just raise enough revenue to afford the services and the goods that you're providing its residents. So focusing in on 2025, total expenditures were pretty consistent, $3.5 million. Revenues fell below that, just below $3 million, resulting in a net decrease or a use of fund balance of $534,000. Something to note is if you recall your adopted budget for 2025, the general fund adopted a budget expecting to use $500,000. You appropriated fund balance. So very close to what was anticipated in your adopted budget. On the next slide, you can see where those revenues and expenditures, that activity, where it got you as far as an equity position, your fund balance. So general fund balance at the end of 2025 just shy of $1.5 million. The component that I'll focus on in this presentation is the blue portion at the bottom, your unassigned. That's going to be what's considered your available fund balance. And an educated reader of a municipality's financial statements is going to look at that portion of fund balance. If they have 5 minutes to look at your financial statements, they're going to look at the available fund balance and then compare it to how much spending that fund does. It's kind of a universal benchmark that you can use in governmental funds. So for the general fund, we have unassigned fund balance of $515,000, and that represents 15% of the total year spending. So I mentioned the total spending on the previous slide was $3.5 million. When you compare this $515,000 to that, it represents 15%. So that percentage is that quick benchmark that people will use to evaluate how healthy a fund balance is. And as you can see, just by the bar graph here, you can see the unassigned fund balance has decreased for the last 2 years in the general fund. However, per the town's budget, so as expected. So moving on to your town outside, your B fund. Here you can see the trend for the last 4 years at least has been spending more than we brought in. Most recently in 2025, you used $542,000 of fund balance, and the budget anticipated using a little over $200,000. So spent more in the B fund than you expected to during the budget process. And when it comes to the total fund balance, on slide 8, here you can see that bar graph. So if your spending has been higher than money coming in, you can see that bar graph. Total fund balance has decreased for each of the last 4 years. Total fund balance is at $1.6 million, and the available portion of $945,000 represents 22% of the year's spending. Again, a decrease from last year. Moving on to the highway fund, a little bit similar to the general fund, some up, some down. For 2025, an overall increase in activity, both spending and revenues coming in. I think more work was getting done in 2025 than years prior. Also, costs are going up. Pretty close to breaking even. The net was a $53,000 increase in fund balance in the highway fund, whereas the budget anticipated using $300,000. So it performed much better than you had expected initially at the adoption of the budget. As far as the fund balance levels, 2025 is sitting at about $1.9 million, and the available portion of $1,377,000 represents 30% of the year's spending. The Water District Fund, wrapping up with water and sewer. Water District Fund, here you can see the trend for all 5 years presented has been you've brought in more income than you've had to spend. I think that, in having a history with the town and understanding how water and sewer works, these are funds that in the event something were to go wrong, repairs and fixes get pretty expensive. So to carry a higher fund balance seems to be the trend or the goal of smaller municipalities. So that said, total fund balance rose about $400,000 in 2025. You can see the revenues have increased, the spending has also increased for this fund. It's really the town reflecting an increase in rates to keep up with the supply that you're spending at the county. So on slide 12, you can see the total fund balance is at $2.9 million, and nearly the entire portion is available. So that's representing over 100% of the year's spending. This is really at the town's preference for how it's going to be used. There's several different things that need to get done. Repairs, not at the town, just in general infrastructure type funds to take care of repairs and maintenance. So that $2.9 million is all there with no restrictions on it. And the final fund that we'll look at is the sewer district. Here again, you saw a bit of an increase in spending. That's largely attributed to, in 2025, the sewer district sent over $1 million of a transfer out to the capital projects fund. So doing some significant sewer district work during 2025 resulted in a net decrease in fund balance of $722,000. So total spending was $4.1 million, and you brought in $3.4 million. So on slide 14, you can see that decrease in fund balance. Total fund balance is at about $2.4 million, and still have just shy of $1.2 million in the available portion, and that represents 29% of the year's spending. So the final slide, it does have contact information for Erica and Michael. Michael was the manager on the job this year. I also put mine on there if you wanted to get a hold of us. Often, if you come up with a question or something you want to ask, and it's not on top of your mind tonight, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're here all year. Give us a call or an email. We'd be happy to help. In addition to the numbers, we look at how things are done. We call those the internal controls, policies, the procedures, and we had no findings. So if there's any significant deficiencies in how things are getting done, we would let you know that. The audit team found that there were no findings this year, so I think that's pretty consistent with the past few years. Other than that, got a report that it was a rather smooth audit, so compliments to Jackie and the rest of the staff. We worked very closely with Jackie. Hope she's on the mend, also feeling better.
Yeah, she is. Every day a little bit better. Excellent. Anybody have any questions for Carl? And obviously, if you have any other questions, you can sit down with Jackie as well. So, awesome. Well, Carl, thanks.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay, agenda approval. I know there's a few things that need to be added to the agenda. Under Supervisor Broderick, we have the police contract. It was voted on by the police officers and approved, and we need to approve that contract here tonight. I know Councilwoman Wechter had the senior center, what would you call it, senior center renovations to add. Does anybody else have anything to add to the agenda? No? I know, I believe we're gonna table the key fob doors, right? So the key fob doors will be tabled. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make them.
Good motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resident statements. I don't believe anybody signed up. Department head statements. Tamara, anything? Nothing? Chief? Nothing? Tim? No? Anything from the water department?
Do you want me to do my truck bid now? Or you want to wait? It's on the agenda.
Yeah, we'll just wait.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, it's under department head statements. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I can do
Yeah,
it.
go ahead.
Okay. We put a mini bid out for a new utility truck. We got 2 bids back. The lowest is the Lacy Ford at $63,280.32. I would ask the board to approve that so we can keep going.
And it was in the budget?
We had it budgeted for a bigger dump truck, but that dump truck came in way over budget, so we switched it to a utility truck.
Okay, so how much was that total?
$63,280.32.
From where?
That would be the Lacy Ford. Yep.
That was on state bid backhoe.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from the Lacy Ford for the amount that was presented.
I'll second it. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Jeff Ritter, anything? Any updates on the sewer relief?
Yes, the Morgan Relief Sewer is almost complete. We've got all the trenching and digging done, all the pipe is in the ground. There has to be one more connection and some concrete work, and it's cleaned up, and it will be finished.
That's excellent. Nice. Excellent.
I just had a question. How have they been faring with the changes that have already been made as far as the most recent rainstorms? Has the neighborhood been handling it very
The
well?
neighborhood's been handling it. We've had very few phone calls for the amount of water.
Good, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that some of the stuff that you've already done has mitigated, and I'm sure that this is really gonna help, so.
Mike, anything?
In the thick of it, paving season, started, Hillside Orchard neighborhood today. Unfortunately, I think we're gonna get rain out for the next 2, so we'll continue on into the week and next week. And, next round, we're looking August 24th, and we'll have one more round after that, so.
Okay. Excellent. Jackie's online, but she's on the agenda. Tim?
Winding down baseball season. Got about 3 weeks left for summer camp, so going well. And then we're starting up. Check us out on Facebook with the Village of Lewiston Recreation, a youth advisory committee, and we're going to meet quarterly throughout the year. We're looking for young leaders from the ages of 10 to 17 to give ideas, feedback, and just improve the community. So both programs are growing, and we're just looking to combine and get a little bit of feedback from our younger adults.
Good, good. Linda Olick wasn't feeling good, so she took the night off and won't be on here. So with that, we will move forward. I think I got everybody. Approval of the minutes from June 22nd, 2026 regular town board.
I reviewed them and I make a motion to accept them as presented.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Abstract of claims, Councilwoman Lecter.
Yes, I have an abstract of claims for July 27th, 2026. I move to approve the regular abstract of claims 26-01988 through 26-02147 and recommend payment in the amount of $361,952.71 plus the post audit in the amount of $19,320.16.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, nothing under old pending business, nothing under new business. For myself, so our attorney who negotiated our police contract, Heather Jabra, and I worked hard for well over a year working with our police department, the union that represents them. A lot of back and forth. We were able to email you a contract, a red line contract, and I would ask for a motion to approve the police contract between the town and the police teamsters.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. They'll be happy to hear that. And then under legal, Al.
Would you like a motion? You probably should have another motion to authorize you to sign that contract.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to authorize supervisor to sign the contract.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you,
You're
Al.
welcome.
Legal.
So there was a proposed local law 1 of 2025 terminating the Environmental Conservation Commission and creating the Planning and Environmental Review Board. That was brought up last year. We had a public hearing. For some reason, it never came to fruition for a final vote. So, in the interest of being conservative, I would ask that the board close the public hearing if it hadn't been closed before, and then if you want to move forward voting on that this evening.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on the local law for the Environmental Conservation Commission and creating the Planning and Environmental Review Board.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Councilwoman Wechter, you did have some questions, and
Yes.
Sorry.
What I would like to do is now following the vote on this, I would like to table the local law and give Bill and I time to work on it, because I believe that there are sections in there that are a little bit vague. We've given no direction as far as what a breakout committee would look like and actually what that breakout committee would be assigned to do. So I guess I would like to see it.
If that's
I was under the impression we were just introducing a new law. This is the old law we're reintroducing.
You're not reintroducing any.
We're approving.
We for approval. So if the board's preference is to possibly make changes to this, I would suggest that you withdraw your motion to close the public hearing, leave it open.
Okay.
We can make some more changes and reintroduce a revised version of this. Republish it for further public hearing.
Okay,
For the changes that were made and see if we get anyone to come and say.
So then I'll rescind my motion, and then if it pleases this board, for Bill and I to work on it.
So I talked to Sarah, And we're very fortunate right now that our planning board has 3 qualified people for environmental, right? And there's gonna come a day where those 3 people aren't gonna be on the planning board, and we may not have that aspect on it. So, and I think we talked to Tim a little bit too. So we just wanted to tweak it a little bit more to kind of make it more black and white on what the environmental aspect of that is. I mean, like I said, we're very lucky right now.
And we should probably do it right the first time, right? So this has been percolating for a little while, another meeting will.
Okay, so we'll
No
table
problem.
it until our next meeting.
Very good.
Okay, good. Yeah, I thought this was a new law.
No,
Yeah.
I did hear of the concerns that we hadn't gotten together to make any changes yet.
Okay.
So that's fine, so now we know the direction we're headed on.
Very good.
Okay. And then the tender agreement, do I move forward with go ahead.
So there's been a tender agreement, as everyone is aware in this room. There was an issue with the original contractor, Riverfront Park. We had taken a vote to declare that particular contract in violation of the contract, then entered into negotiations with his bonding company. That has culminated in a tender agreement that has been agreed upon with everyone's input. And that effectively will resolve the issues between the town of Lewiston and the bonding company. We have a subsequent issue that we're going to deal with awarding that same contract for the uncompleted work to A1 Land Care, which will happen later. So the first objective today would be to approve the tender agreement, and then the second motion would be for Mr. Broderick to sign that agreement, and that will resolve all the issues between the bonding company and the town. So we start there.
So just a real quick explanation just to add on what Al said. This was a performance bond, and when we ended the contract with the first company, performance bond put it out to bid. We were very fortunate that the bid was right on line with what we originally. So this is costing, actually, it's costing the bond company nothing. It's costing the town nothing. We're being held to our original bid that we put out there. So this is a perfect example where a performance bond worked.
Correct.
And we were very fortunate that A1 got the bid. And that bid was put out by the bond company. It was not put out by the town. A1 did phase 1. They did our original pavilion, which is phenomenal. We weren't happy with this next pavilion, time frame wise and construction wise. Deficiencies were addressed with the bond company, and it worked out. Tim worked on it. I sat in on them. I believe Councilman Morale sat in on a couple of them. Al, of course, worked hard, so, and Bob Landon also. So I think we're back on track. Jason's chomping at the bit to go. So with that, I would ask for a sort of motion to agree with tender agreement with Lexington National Insurance.
Exactly. So you make a motion to approve that tender agreement first of all.
Okay, so can I get somebody to
I'll make that motion to approve the tender agreement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And we need a motion for me to sign the contract.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Excellent.
Dovetailing into that, there was a contract that was provided, because now that that contract has been approved and ultimately will be signed, the town needs someone to complete the work. And that bid has come in from A1 Land Care. They were the lowest bidder, and obviously have the capacity to finish the job. The contract is before the board. Make a motion to approve the contract, and the second one, you have the supervisor sign it.
So I need a motion to approve the contract with A1 Land Care.
I'll make the motion to approve the contract with A1 Land Care.
Okay. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And motion for me to sign the contract.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. That's exciting because we're moving forward on that project. So, and know, Mike, they went down and they took down all the fencing and cleaned it all up, so it looks pretty, everything was getting pretty bad down there, so. Do we know whose fence that is?
I don't.
I think it's pretty, yeah.
I honestly don't, I think it was the previous contractors.
Yeah.
We just removed it, piled it off to the side.
Yeah.
Did some mowing and we went down there to clean up that park, it was looking pretty ratty with that stuff out, so.
Okay. Anything under engineering?
Only as a continuation of that, Mr. Supervisor, that, if it pleases the board, will issue a notice to proceed, to A1 landscaping, tomorrow.
Okay, good.
That'll be the next formal process, and then off they go.
Okay.
When is their expected completion date?
Yeah, we didn't get into that real, you know, because, you know, they were limited on what they could do in the water. I think we're past that point now, so once I think, we get the contract to Jason, we could probably,
We'll find out how
you
much.
know,
He is very anxious to get going.
yeah, I think we're not gonna be disappointed.
No.
Finance, Jackie Agnello.
Hi,
There you are.
previously I had submitted budget revisions, both for 2025 and for 2026. Tonight I ask for the board to approve those budget revisions.
Called Jackie this morning and I went over 25 and 26 revisions. Did we do them separately or there's 25 budget revisions, there's 26 budget revisions?
Yeah, let's do them separately.
Yeah, I think that would make sense. Go ahead.
I make a motion to accept her, budget revisions for the year 2025 as presented.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And I make a motion to accept the budget revisions for 2026 from the 727 that Jackie has presented.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Anything else,
Thank you.
Jackie?
No, that's all I have,
Okay.
thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Councilman Byrd, your liaison.
Nothing new to report.
Okay, Councilman Morial.
Yes, I have two on tonight. I have a sewer forgiveness for John Leone had a pool liner replaced and the sewer portion of the bill was $217.66. This was reviewed by Jeff Winter and okayed by you, so I'll make a motion that we accept sewer portion to be forgiven on this water bill, water and sewer.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And tonight I'd like to introduce, it'll be local law number 4 of the year 2026. This is gonna be a moratorium on the placement, installation, use, storage, and occupancy of shipping containers within the town of Lewiston, Niagara County, New York, obviously. This is just to introduce it tonight. We'll have a public hearing at the next meeting. Basically,
Just that a copy of the text of the law will be available at Town Hall or on the town website. And you're basically introducing it for public hearing.
Right.
So do we need to schedule a public hearing?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll schedule that for, I got it on here, with our regular town board meeting, August 24th at 6 p.m. So can I get a motion to schedule a public hearing at the August 24th town board meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
So the board knows it's been sent to the county planning board already for their approval.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Councilman Myers.
Nothing more time.
Okay. Councilwoman Wector.
Yes, we helped open the bid process for the renovations at the senior center. If you remember correctly, we had to, I guess, nullify the contract that we had originally. So we did get one bidder, it's Northeast Landscape, you do have it in front of you, and the bid was $86,840. And what that includes is to finish off some small aspects of the men's bathroom, to remodel the women's bathroom to match the men's, and also to totally gut the kitchen and then to renovate the kitchen. It is going to put us slightly over what the last bid was. The last bid, I think, was like 79,000 and some change. This one is at the 80,000 for the 2 rooms. And then if you add, I think the last one was around 36,000 was the check that we had cut to Tuscarora. So it is a little bit over budget, but originally we had in there that it was budgeted for 125,000, I believe. So I do feel that this is in line with what's going on. And then also to the work this time, we will be closing the senior center if it is approved on Columbus Indigenous Day, and closing all program for that following week, so that the contractor can get in there, do the work, and be done.
Good.
So that is a motion.
So we have a motion to accept the bid from Northeast Landscape for $80,840 to finish renovations at the senior center. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. All in favor?
I'd like some discussion, yeah. Now, they'll be bonded on this also, just.
Yeah, they sent their bonding check. So they have a, right, Tamara, they sent their bonding check, yeah.
For 1,150.
Yes, so they do have that, and then, I understand, I believe Ed has experience with these individuals. And then, Bill, do you have experience with them?
A little bit.
Okay.
We're from Youngstown, so we serve local.
Yes.
Hopefully get this done. So,
I walked them through the senior center. They're well versed on what we were expecting and what problem we had, and what we need to be doing moving forward. So.
And we also did go through for this bidding process and change the spec a little bit, and I think made it a little bit better this time
well,
around.
they'll know they're under the gun.
Yes, yes. So within this bid package or this contract, there has been time limits have been created. We're giving them the October week to do the work, but all completion has to be done by December 15th, I believe, so that all the paperwork can come into our office and we can close it out and be done with it at the end of the year.
Jackie, this is H97, correct? No, you just muted yourself.
Muted.
There you go.
Alright. Okay. Originally, we were using a fund balance for the senior center repairs. The last time we put money aside when it was not completed.
Okay, is that still the route we're gonna go?
I would think that would be better out than the H97
Okay,
for this.
okay.
And it's 80,840, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion and a second for Northeast Landscape, $80,840. That'll be from a fund balance. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried. Excellent. Okay, I did want to give, Ed's not here, I know Tim was. So we approved a bid a couple months ago for the outfall building, the new bathrooms at the outfall building. So one of the complaints we got with Riverfront Park was that there were no bathroom facilities close by, you had to go up on top of the hill. And our phase one didn't address it, because we just wanted to get the park started. And we have a company there now that has been going gangbusters, putting in a men's and women's bathroom into the outfall building. Ed's down there every day. I give Ed a lot of credit. He's kind of moved this across the finish line as far as getting this done. So I'm really excited about the bathroom facilities. And then also Ed's been working hard at the police station. So our police station, which we took over from Newport, Newport gave us that building. It used to be, we had a lease agreement for $1 a year. Newport gave it to us, I think earlier this year or the end of last year. And we knew when we got the building, there were renovations that were required. So right now, they're going gangbusters down there with new windows, new doors, a new roof's gonna be coming, and a new HVAC unit. Yeah, so I think they're waiting to do the roof till they get the HVAC unit or vice versa.
HVAC first, then roof.
Yes.
So those now.
Yeah, so a lot of things going on, and like I said, it's all positive. The Riverfront Park is Greenway money, the police station's H97 money, and for those who keep referring to H97, it's $850,000 we get from the Power Authority for infrastructure. And we've been very conservative with that, and we've been able to use that money. And I'm sorry, no. So it's H98 money to the police department, which is our energy money, which we've been real conservative at, and the rates have gone up for us at home. That means they increase for the town selling 6.5 megawatts in the open market. I would rather have it the other way around, but it is what it is right now. So I just wanted to do a quick update on those two projects. Hopefully in the next month or so, you drive down to Riverfront Park and you'll see, massive changes. So with that, I would ask everybody, or tell everybody that upcoming board commission meetings, there'll be a special meeting, abstract only, on August 10th at 10 a.m. just to approve the abstract at this point. If anything changes, obviously, it would be announced in the paper and on our website. Is Historic Preservation still meeting on the 11th? I don't think so. So Zoning Board of Appeals is August 13th at 6 p.m. Planning Board is August 20th at 6:30 p.m. Both are still on schedule. And our town board meeting will be August 24th at 6 p.m. along with a public hearing for the local law imposing a moratorium on the placement, installation, use, storage, and occupancy of shipping containers within the town of Lewiston. With that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Just a meeting.